Hello and welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the Mukana Man at YouTube with another modelling video. I'm a bit more aware than the question requesting video and ready to go for your questions for the month of February, March. Last time was massive. Went for well over an hour, heaps of questions. This time's a bit leaner, but the questions of a very high quality. So we'll explore them, discuss them, as well as a couple of shout-outs. I'm doing shout-outs now at the end of the question and answer videos. So if you have a YouTube channel, blog, website, community, competition, anything, and you just want to see it get seen by a few more eyes, even though it's the very few hundred people that watch it on this video, you're more than welcome to make a request of me, and I'll happily have a look at it and give it a shout out of my opinion from having a brief look at it. So, first question goes straight off the bat to John Yuen of Australia. How do you customize kits to have open hatch look? So we've seen those, Master Grades big hat kits with all the bits of armour and hatches and whatnot open. And pretty much the trick is, or the hardest part is cutting out the shape in the armour, or lifting the armour as neatly as possible. Now, cutting a straight square in something that's about 2mm thick of plastic that is Bandai, and risking of having all sorts of peg and gates and all sorts of stuff underneath, it is a tad on the tricky side. Pretty much an area that's free of detail is ideal. So you cut the area out and discard the plastic. One method of doing that is drilling a series of really fine 1/2mm holes, and then punching up and just filing the inside with a file. I understand what's becoming popular is ultrasonic knives in Japan. These are vibrating hobby knives that can cut through plastic like a hot knife through butter. I'm very keen to get my hands on one of these before. I've been talking to Ghost of Zion about them, and we'll come across them one day and have a play. They're probably the very best tools. Another idea is, if you have a large enough hobby blade, if you somehow heat it under a flame, like one of those small hobby or hospitality mini blowtorches or jet lighters, if you heat your blade up enough, and if the plastic is thin enough, you could probably just melt through there fairly neatly, of course cleaning it up afterwards. Once you have your neat hole, you add the desired detail or look underneath if it's a master grade. If not, bit of styrene scratch building parts, wire, whatnot, engine detail, have fun. And then on top you need the hatch to close on. A thin piece of styrene sheet cut to the correct shape, or what I reckon would be absolutely awesome is 1/2mm thick brass. You cut out a small piece of brass, bend it a tiny bit so it's hinged, glue it down, and then a couple of supports of wire, plastic, whatever, to make it look like it's being held open, like a bonnet of a car or a window that's opening horizontally or such. So the trickiest part, unfortunately, is cutting the hole neatly. Once you have a neat square hole, then it's pretty much easy and very artistic from there. There's a lot of ideas, options, more or less have a play, and just have a go. What I would recommend is get a cheap kit, an SD kit, or just a piece of styrene that's about 1mm thick, and practice cutting a hole in that's of a square nature well before, with all those various techniques, well before you actually do it on a kit that you're actively working on. Super glue will also be your friend in that exercise. Next question. Kid Crimson 66. I hate the safety nubs that are on the back of the V-fins. The V-fins are the big V antenna on the head of the Gundams. I know 90% of you already know that, but I do have a few modelling military figure non-Gundam people on my channel, so it's a robot Gundam thing. on the back of the V-fins, and I hate the safety nubs that are on the back of the V-fins, and I always remove them. I recently got the Zeta Plus and accidentally destroyed the V-fin trying to remove them. My question is, how do I remove the V-fin nubs without damaging the V-fins? Now, the V-fin is a very brittle, very thin piece of plastic. When you just drop the kit, they've got a habit of snapping off. Doesn't matter if you're working on master grades or high grades. I actually did a video a while ago addressing that, where I was building the Mao X Gundam, and you've got these massive chunks of plastic for the molding process, which the plastic runs down there and makes sure that it doesn't run short within the V-fin. What I remember doing is placing the actual nub area up against a hard surface and removing it with a blade, and then very carefully using a Dremel on the slow speed or very gently on a sanding stick, I ever so carefully removed or sanded back the material, then sharpened the V-fin to a tinier point. If you type in V-fin modification or V-fin modeling in my YouTube channel search area, or if you have a look at the Gundam Mech Model Workshop playlist near the end, it should appear there. It is a lengthy video, but my biggest hint for working on that is patience. When you cut it and work on a kit, you know, you get the runner and you go snip, 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 you start cutting, you start sanding, you get confident and quite fast, but due to the nature, the thin, brittle, soft nature of the V-fin and how easily it can be damaged, it's something of patience. It's not unusual that you would work on it for half an hour, over an hour, just very so slowly, very so gently with a sanding stick or a Dremel, just removing the nub bit layer by layer, and then sandpaper and sanding stick sharpening the V-fin to a point. So due to its fragile nature, you'll need to work quite slower, and watch that video. Lon 242, a friend of mine is experimenting with Alclad paints for the first time. He painted up a pretty sick looking metallic finish on a test piece. Turned out pretty nice. A few days later, the paint finish, not the plastic, started developing cracks. He's not sure why this happened. I figured it could be that the enamel gloss black layer wasn't fully cured. Any theories as to why this might happen? I believe he laid down the paints in this order: Alclad gloss black layer, Alclad chrome colour, Alclad metallic blue, Alclad gloss clear. Alclad is a very fast drying, very versatile paint, though it is a bit mysterious. I think every modeler who has used Alclad extensively can contest that at one point or another their paint has mass cracked, which is very, very annoying. But it mostly has to do with the conditions that you're airbrushing, the condition of your airbrush, the environment, the weather, the undercoat, all sorts of things. What I could see is that all of the Alclad products were used, so the Alclad gloss black layer, the chrome colour and whatnot. When I'm painting an Alclad, I'm quite confident in how fast all the paints work, so I just apply everything in rapid layers. As soon as I lay down the Alclad primer or Alclad gloss black layer, it's very quickly followed up by a layer of Alclad chrome, though I'm not sure how multiple types of Alclad paint on top of each other would react to each other. So the Alclad metallic blue and the Alclad chrome, I've never done anything like that before. That might be one reason why it might have cracked. But all I can recommend to your friend is don't be too disheartened about it. Strip the paint, start again, try to do it on a day that the temperature and humidity is quite normal and ideal for painting. give his airbrush a good and thorough flush out with lacquer thinner and maintenance, and try again on the test piece before attempting on the model kit. I remember when I tried doing a candy coat on a IGG model kit, I applied the base coat, Alclad, and then an enamel clear coat from Revell. And after a few days it just cracked up like mad, and I have no idea how to explain it. The only thing I think I did was, because I applied a little clear coat, waited for many hours and applied a second layer, that could have reacted something. But yeah, for some reason Alclad is prone to cracking up a little more than other lacquer paints, but it is a rare occurrence, and I hope for your friend it won't happen again. But the only way he'll know is doing another test piece, and just to heed the word of you can do the layers quite rapidly with little drying time, but just be mindful of the environment and the condition of his airbrush. Another thing I've been picking up quite frequently, having a look at a few forums, Facebook, whatnot, is a lot of people stripping paint off their kits. I don't know if there's some sort of ongoing thing of people making mistakes or painting older kits they're not happy with or whatnot, but there's a lot of calls for paint stripping, and as always I'm happy to lay out a hand and sent them all a video of the bleach technique of I use of stripping paint, and a lot of individuals has come back quite happy. Everything from acrylic to lacquer, all on plastic kits. I have heard a few stories back from different people using different bleaches in different situations with different paints. I recommended it could take 24 to 48 hours. Sometimes, if you happen to have bought the wrong bleach, I recommend a strong gel, as industrial strength as possible bleach. But if you buy something of a cheaper nature, or just using whatever's around the house, and it could be a weaker bleach, it might not be a drain cleaning bleach, it might be, let's say, a linen bleach, they could take longer due to their weaker nature. I've learned that you want to have a lot more bleach well and truly covering the parts plus excess. As the paint strips, or as the bleach strips the paint off the kit, it dilutes the bleach and it becomes weaker, so the next layer of paint or more paint around more pieces are going to take longer to strip. I've left a model kit in bleach for about a week without checking. No piece, polycap clear piece, fogged up or got damaged whatsoever. So bleach can sit around styrene for an extended period of time, which is very good to know if you're in a long working week. You can chuck it in the tub of bleach, ignore it for a fair long time, and then pull it out. I've actually got a resin kit here. It's in bleach right now, and I let it soak in there for a week, and I lightly sanded it with sandpaper to get the primer off. I did a very good job of texturing up the resin and spraying primer on, so it was really stuck on there. And there's still a tiny bit of bleach, tiny bit of paint left in some of the panels and whatnot. And I put in some fresh bleach and trying to soak every last inch of paint out. And yeah, the resin's not complaining. The only problem, once you're soaking model kits in bleach for a lot longer than the next first 48 hours, is if you're using any lacquer or evaporation style putty to fill seam lines, imperfections, anything like that. The bleach will weaken that and remove it, and any previous fault that you've had last time will reappear and will need to be attended to with putty again. So probably what I'd recommend is cleaning down your kit, hitting it with some primer, and going about re-putting your model kit again instead of just assuming it's fine. So might also split seams with plastic cement too, so that's another thing you might have to look out for. Normally with larger seams on model kits, I also like to put a little super glue in there and bleach and super glue don't react to each other whatsoever, and doesn't really weaken it or remove it. So yep, model kits can survive in bleach for a lot longer. Another thing, I made a video a long time ago about salt weathering, the hairspray salt technique, and I do remember that I didn't specify the time between you apply the hairspray, the salt, and then the paint. I think it was sort of recommended that you did it quite immediately or soon after. I've tried a technique or experiment where I applied the hairspray, I sprinkled on the salt on the model kit, and I allowed it 24 hours to harden. On a cool night, this worked perfectly. I sprayed paint on it, the salt barely chipped off, and it worked as normal. I did this on a humid day, and this is the bad luck part. It reached 80% humidity during the morning, which I was asleep. I was a night shift worker. When I woke up after midday and I was going to do some paint, not a drop of salt on it. I just had a pool of salty water at the base of my parts, and that was quite annoying. So they work quite well in cooler temperatures, though leaving salt on your model in high humidity, hot days will melt off, will not do any damage to your models whatsoever. For my first shout out, I've been requested by the IGG-Gunpla Community on Facebook. In the comment section below will be a link to the actual group to join. These are the Insta Gundam guys who have a large community on Instagram. If you'd like to be involved in Instagram with Gundam modelling, it would be an idea to drop a line to these guys, tell them your handle, and they'll probably sign up and friend you and follow you in drones. So that would be a good idea to get yourself known and spread out, and get your work out there, interact with more Gundam modelling people. I'm finding the other social networks are probably like Pinterest, Instagram, those sort of services are probably a little better for Gundam modelers to hang out than Facebook. Less community oriented in the posting of tutorials and discussions, but more so about work. The community is a little more friendly, a lot more supportive, and a lot more constructive in criticism. So have a look at it. I believe they've got some sort of largish competition going on. And the second shout out goes to Gundam or Gunpla Builders Australia. Bandai Hobby Co. sponsored. They have a Facebook page as well as a old-fashioned forum. We've just exited from a sponsored competition group build of building Gundams mixed up with My Little Pony pop kits. My kit has been posted on YouTube a few days ago, as well as on other social media outlets and Facebook. If you go on the forum as well as the Facebook page, you'll see a lot of Gundam, SD Gundam crossed over with half scratch built ponies. Very inspirational work. All the modelers had a lot of fun. All the modelers are very talented regardless of what skill level they're at. And a lot of the work produced is just really fantastic and inspirational, where you just get two polar opposite items and bashed it together in the name of fun and goodwill. This sort of mental build, as I mentioned on the video, is very highly recommended and definitely worth checking out. If again you would like a shout out of your community or personal page, the next time one of these videos are rearing up, shoot us a line and it will be added to the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. This was a shorter video, but I hope I fleshed it out, made it more interesting enough. Hopefully next time there'll be more questions. And as always, until next time, catch you guys later. I almost forgot to mention, my competition has come to an end, the 3,000 subscriber competition. Judging is going to start very, very shortly. I didn't want to do it during the working week because it's a very fun project and I'd like to enjoy doing so. There is 5 fantastic entries. They've been shouted out on the Facebook page as they were being entered. They're going to be re-shout-outed there, as well as a shout-out and link on this YouTube channel. And the prize will be issued, awarded, and talked about. Very happy of the conclusion of that, especially since video responses, competitions on YouTube is a thing of the past. It's dead. It's nice to see some people still remember it, still want to contribute and enjoy it, as well as it's newer people wanting to try it out and seeing what the older YouTube community used to be like. The fact that it could still work once we reach 4,000 subscribers, which funnily enough is not too far away. We're up to 3,400, so might happen at the end of the year. It's going to be troublesome finding prizes. It will happen again, and it will be of a very similar theme, very similar prize, very similar opportunities. Catch you guys later.